Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the entirely merciful and the specially merciful. Dear viewers everywhere on the globe, I greet you with the greeting of peace, the greeting that promotes peace in the world, the greeting that we are commanded by our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to spread it and share it with others. Greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Mamdouh Muhammad, yes, sharing with you some treasures from the Holy Quran. There are some verses in the Quran for us here. We are selecting them. I'm select them. Of course, I do confess that every ayah in the Quran is a treasure. But for some context, I select this verse or the other verse. But all of them, no exception, that whether they are small ayat, one verse or another, all of them are considered Islamically, should be believed that all of them are the words of Allah and all of them are treasures, real treasures. So whatever ayah you select and you know the meaning of it, inshallah, is considered as an ayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of them are. And I wish that you at your leisure time, you reflect upon these ayat. Take one ayah, live with it for some hours, for some minutes. Leave it today and come back to it tomorrow or next week and see the impact of any ayah you select on your heart. If you don't know anything in it, you start seeing the books that explain these ayat, or you consult with the scholars. And in this way, you will find that it elaborates and it opens up, inshallah, your heart to understanding it. And once you understand it, inshallah, you start sharing it with others. That's what we are doing in this episode and in the other episodes. Today, I am going to focus on perhaps one or two ayat, ayah number 71 and 72. 71 and 72 in chapter number 28. Two ayat, 71 and 72 in chapter number 28. This is how they read in Arabic. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل. Remember that it is a command from Allah. قل, say to the people. قل أرأيتم إن جعل الله عليكم الليل سرمدا إلى يوم القيامة من إله غير الله يأتيكم بضياء أفلا تسمعون. Following ayah. قل أرأيتم إن جعل الله عليكم النهار سرمدا إلى يوم القيامة من إله غير الله يأتيكم بليل تسكنون فيه أفلا تبصرون. One talks about النهار, daylight, and one talks about الليل, the night. First one talks about the night. This is the translation, rough translation of it. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell me, if Allah made the night continuous for you till the day of resurrection, which ilah, which God besides Allah could bring you light? Will you not then hear? Following ayah. Say, O Muhammad, tell me, if Allah made the day continuous for you till the day of resurrection, which ilah, which God besides Allah could bring you night wherein you rest? Will you not then see? Again, this is a continuation of the scattered ayat in the Quran that makes you think. These ayat end with question. It asks you to answer this question. And answering these questions requires understanding of the context and understanding of the question and thinking of the answer. And the answer, or the right answer, leads you to the right way of thinking, guides you to the right way of thinking. And this is the nature of the Quran. And this is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He guides our hearts to the right way of thinking. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us to think deeply of the night. How many times have you thought that you're living night, this night, tonight, or last night? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it continuous, night after night after night, 24 hours night. Have you ever thought of this? Is it possible to happen? As a believer, I and the believers share with us that it is possible because Allah is capable of doing anything. If Allah decides that this will happen, it will happen. So Allah is thinking of a question to help you appreciate what Allah created for you and appreciate the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, the first ayah tells us that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the night continuous, on and on and on and on and on and on, it does not end. 1 week, still all of it night. We don't have any day. And 1 month, all night. And 1 year, all night. If this night continues for good, forever, until the day of judgment, until the end of life. Who else can bring us light or can bring us daylight other than Allah? Is there anyone who has this power? It's only the power of God. Is there any God who can do this? Who can reverse it and stop being happening until the day of judgment? Have you ever thought of these questions? Very beautiful questions. Reflect upon that. Try to imagine that if you live the 24 hours, all of them are night. There is no light, no daylight. How are you going to behave? Or what kind of behavior you are going to do? Are you going to function as a human as you are functioning right now? You have day and you have night? The answer is no, I cannot function. And this would help us think and appreciate the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of creating night and day. And that's why you find those people who live in these areas in the north of Europe or in other areas, when they have night for 20 hours or for more than 20 hours, they have a lot of suffering in their life. And that's why a lot of people avoid living in these areas. So try to imagine that if the entire planet have this situation of night, no daylight, who else can change this situation? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This question makes you think. If you believe in another God, whatever name it carries, if you believe in Jesus as God, we all of us believe in Jesus as a messenger, ask yourself, is this God capable of giving us daylight? Think. If Muhammad is God, and he is not, if Muhammad is God, can he make this change? No, he cannot. You believe that Buddha is God. Can he make this change? Allah is challenging us with this question to think. No. No matter whatever you believe in, whether he is this or that, no one can do this kind of thing. No one is capable of doing this because there is no other God except one, except Almighty Allah. Now, I'm sure that you believe that the only one who can do this is Almighty Allah. So this may lead a lot of people who have deviant kind of thinking to go back to the norm, to go back to the right track and confess that no one else can make this except God, except Almighty Allah. So if you believe in Allah, you should be very sure and certain, alhamdulillah, that you worship the right God. And the same thing applies to if you reverse the ayah as the following years. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you, do you see? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? In other words, do you understand? Do you still confess that Allah is the only Lord on the universe? Or you have some doubts and some illusions in your mind? And the other question confirms this. If the entire 24 hours is day, until, and this continues day after day and month after month and year after year. You remember the Quran was sent down more than 1400 years ago, and this continues until the day of judgment, which we don't know when it's going to happen. It may happen tomorrow, it can happen in the next century, we don't know exactly. If it continues forever, who has the ability to bring some night for us so that we can rest, we can take rest? Because the nature of the sun rays would affect our eyes and we are not able to sleep. Who is going to bring us some dark of the night so that we would be able to sleep? Is there anyone else other than Allah? No. And you see the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's capable of doing this. We are sure 100%, yet He doesn't do it out of His mercy and out of His wisdom and out of His knowledge. He knows that humans cannot live with that. So here, these are some ayat that requires reflection. These ayat are not meant for us to read them and to skip and to run to other ayat. These ayats, you can live with them, as I said in the beginning, that you can live with them 5 minutes, then put them aside, and you start thinking of them. Whenever you have opportunity during the coming day, during the coming week, think of this. Think of the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made life in this way. Mac, about 12 hours average night and 12 hours about, more or less, yes, is daylight. To try to see the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to appreciate it. Try to thank it. And that's what Muslims do. And that's why Muslims do the adhkar al-layl wal-nahar. These adhkar, kind of adhkar, remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these changes, you know that they are so great. They are so amazing. They need to be thanked. And that's what we do with adhkar. We have adhkar, these kinds of dhikr that we use them in the evening, and some of them we do them in the morning, and we continuously try to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the essence of these adhkar, to thank Him for this kind of blessing that He is giving us. Everything in this universe is, when you think of it, is a blessing. But unfortunately, some people until now, they don't have the limited even knowledge of confessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists. Even some people have some doubts in this. You can see how deviant people are going away from the right track. Who's going to remind them? Who is going to explain? Who is going to clarify these things to them except us? If we don't do our task, if we don't do our job, we are leading, or we are helping the world. We are participating in this great sin. This is a great sin because we don't show the people ways of guidance. And to show them the ability of guidance, we need to ask Allah to give us support and to give us ability and to give us the skills so that we would be able to help them be guided and come to the right track. And we do so, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ and إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. We seek your support and we seek your help in guiding us. آمين آمين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.